but at least we have power so we can get up and move. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the all-new 2022 Volvo C40. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the team at Volvo for giving me some time with the new C40. I really appreciate it. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you go to purchase a car, link in the description down below to my car buying guide. Let's get straight into the review. Well, we got to pop the hood here on this C40 to see what's powering this bad boy, and oh, we can't actually see anything. We got a charging cable underneath here, and you guys can see we have a not super large frunk, but you know, we do have some storage space up front, which definitely adds to the practicality. And I like how it's covered up, so you've got like two different sets of latch action happening here, because you have this closed, and then when you have the hood closed, it's like double protected in a sense. But yeah, there's not a lot happening underneath there, but it's okay. Now let's get into some specs before we go over the front end. So we have 226 miles of full electric driving range. We have a 78 kilowatt hour lithium ion high voltage battery. We've got permanent all-wheel drive, and we have power outputs that are pretty phenomenal. 402 horsepower and then 486 pound-feet of torque. So yeah, there you go. Ha ha! I have the cool filming location, and then all the other C40s are like all grouped together, which is kind of funny. Anyways, now let's go over the front end of the C40. So first off, in Volvo's normal design language, the center of the hood is just flat, right? And then here off to the side, it's not as complex as we have on other Volvo models actually, but it does dip down a little bit. And when I say complex, it doesn't have nearly as many body lines. And well, we got another C40 driving by. Wow, they're like all over the place. Anyways, you guys can see here, we've got the Thor's Hammer LED accent light with all the projector lights. And I turned them on, as you guys can see in the previous clip, but because the car's not on, because the key's not in the car, the lights aren't on. So my bad. Anyways, you guys can see fog light down below with the parking sensors integrated here to the front end. Notice we've got the Volvo logo there in the center with the chrome camera there just down below the Volvo logo that's inside of the Volvo logo Inception. Notice the front end is closed off similar to the XC40 Recharge, and overall it's got Volvo's normal design language, and I think it's a pretty good looking vehicle. I like how this is blacked out here too, and you guys can kind of see the design there in the center a little bit. I don't know, looks cool. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 35mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the front, and then two 55mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the rear. And if we go over the design on the wheel, I think this is pretty cool stuff. So we've got the silver here on the top that definitely pops out, but if you look closer, you can see you've got some blacked out trim. So most of the wheel is actually closed off, which helps out with aerodynamics on the car, which gives you a little bit better range. But because they did the contrast of the black and the silver, it makes the wheel look a little bit more open than it actually is. And then here's a look at the front suspension a little bit. Notice we've got the plastic fender flare here, and then that molding continues all along the side to the rear. The mirrors are blacked out. And then notice the roof, also with the pillars and everything, has that blacked out design. And there is your full side view. Now here's our key fob for the C40. We've got the alarm button there, and then we have a couple functions here. We've got our lock, unlock, and then the opening here for the hatch. And thank you, Volvo, for actually giving us a real key fob. I know it's kind of cool to have like a little credit card thing or a phone app or stuff like that for electric cars. But for me personally, I like having like a physical key fob. I like being able to just grab a key and go rather than having to be like, oh, where's my wallet and where's my phone, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, popping here into the rear, you guys can see we've got a cargo cover here in the back. And this is a pretty cool strap. Extra storage space underneath, definitely solid with that. And yeah, super similar in size to the XC40. I'm noticing a lot of similarities between both of the vehicles as I'm kind of like going around this. But yeah, great storage space. Notice it does have a little kick thing. We'll see if I can get it to work. I probably won't be able to. So we'll just hold, wave my foot. Oh, I got it to work. I have the magic touch. With great power comes great responsibility. So let's go over the rear end of the C40. So first off, we have Volvo's signature taillights they have on pretty much every single vehicle. Now this does have sequential turn signals, and it's got this cool like light up animation when you unlock it. I don't know, I like stuff like that. It's gimmicky, but I think it's really cool. And then notice how the trim here is all black down the center. We have this little like spoiler right there. We've got the Volvo logo. Notice we have our Recharge Twin badge, and then we have the C40 badge there on the other side. And then notice here at the top how it's also blacked out. And then just kind of like the general shape of this has that kind of hatchback appearance, right, where it's flatter there at the top. And then you can see here with the parking sensors at the bottom. Since this is fully electric, no exhaust tips or anything like that. But yeah, I think it looks really good from a rear end perspective. And again, I love the sequential turn signal, and I love the animation when you unlock it and how the light just kind of goes in a line. I don't know, it's cool. Now let's go over the door panel here in the rear so you guys can see the padding all down below. Now this is not leather. There's no leather in the C40 whatsoever. That's a huge thing that Volvo is emphasizing, is they're not going to use any leather in this model ever. You guys can see the carpeting too. Definitely love that. Matches the exterior paint color similar to what they have in the XC40 Recharge. Remember I did like the lava orange interior? That was pretty crazy. This is a little bit more toned down because it's blue. You can see window control, door lock, and then you got the door handle. Definitely love how the speaker looks, and then you got the regular one down below. And then here are the seats again. Not leather, right? You've got the stitching throughout, but it still has that leather appearance, and it actually feels really good. You can see the inserts here on the seats. I think it looks really good from an appearance standpoint, but again, it also is like, I mean, plush and, I don't know, soft to the touch as well. So I don't mind that it's not leather. And then again, you can see where the carpeting, it's like blue. Look at this stuff. This is, I don't know, this is interesting. Got the vents here off to the side. Heated seats here for the rear, little charging port. And of course, we got our cup holder armrest. That is so important. You can't live without that. And then you guys can see kind of like the seat belt, and it almost has like a tint to it because of some of the blue in the interior. Kind of you guys can see there in the light, has like a weird tint to it also, so you guys can see room back here is great. Anyways, side to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. Again, you've got all of the padding down below. We have our little door handle control, and then Harman Kardon sound system. I can attest it's really solid sound system. I kind of listened to it a little bit on the way up here. And then you can see here, we've got two settings for the memory seats. All of our window controls. We've got our mirror adjustments. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. Notice we have our recharge plaque down below. And then you can see here for the front seats, again, not leather. Love the piping that they've got in this seat. And then again, same thing with the rear seats. You've got the inserts here. You can see the bolstering down below. These seats are very comfortable, and they stay pretty neutral temperature-wise, which is another big positive. You can kind of see the texturing here on it a little bit better. And then notice down below, we've got our controls here for the seat itself. And you can see the pedal layout. And again, the blue with the floors and the floor mat and everything. Definitely cool aesthetic. And, well, let's pop in. Here's the steering wheel on the C40. Again, you've got the soft touch trim around the steering wheel. You can see the stitching here on the center, black to match. And then we have controls here for like the infotainment system on the side, voice command controls. And again, this does have the integration of Google. So I'm gonna say this in the opposite direction so it doesn't start recording my voice. But if you say Google hey, but then those words backwards, then it'll automatically pick up your voice, and then you can say, give me directions to somewhere. You guys can see I've got navigation pulled up right now. And then we've got this little pages button here, which just changes the gauge cluster look a little bit, kind of interesting. And then you guys can see you've got the controls here for like the cruise control, for example, the distance function, all that. Pretty simple though, in terms of the design and the controls on the steering wheel, which I like. They don't have like a massive amount of controls that kind of gets in the way, which is great. We have our turn signal light stock. We got our windshield wiper stock, you know, all the normal stuff. Probably already saw the gauge cluster, but I'll show it again, and you've got that view change that you can do with the gauge cluster, which is pretty cool. So it'll kind of change how it appears. I don't know, I like that function. Navigation there in the center, which is super practical. And then notice here at the range, it just shows you a percentage similar to like a phone charge, which is kind of interesting. There's nothing that's like super out there. I mean, you can see even changing the gauge view, it doesn't show like, hey, this is how many miles you have left, which is definitely interesting. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, if I pop it into reverse, you guys can see we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. And again, we've got parking sensors as well. So really nice integrated system. Now we've got this camera button here that you can press at any time. And then if you press the 360 button, you can see you've got the camera view change that you can do. So you've got the front camera that you can go to. And then again, press the 360 and you've got side cameras. So from a camera perspective, it's covered. You guys can already see the navigation screen here. I love how you've got the controls here for like the heated seats, at the bottom heated steering wheel for the driver side, and then the climate controls where you can just easily access them. Some manufacturers will bury those in touchscreens. Volvo doesn't do that. And then you can see here with all the different functions you go into. So again, if I want to see the map view, I can see the map view. Now the settings tab is pretty important here in just all new Volvos. So you can see charging, you can set charge limits where you want it to go, which is definitely a big plus. And then with driving, there is an off-road mode, which maybe we should be using right now because we are technically off the road. And then you can see all the other stuff that you can customize here. Notice we've got one pedal drive on, which is going to basically give you a driving experience where you don't have to touch the brakes at all, hence the name one pedal driving, but help with regeneration. Also, steering feel firm. We're going to try that out. I initially drove it in the video for the second channel and the regular steering. I want to see how this feels with the firm steering. But yeah, that is the infotainment system, super nicely integrated here into the dash. Down below, we've got analog controls for the radio, and then we have our charging areas, what I'll call this, because you can see you've got some USBs, we have a wireless phone charger, just decent storage space too that you can use it as, and then we have this little storage space pocket, pretty interesting. Couple cup holders right here. We've got our shifter, which is actually hollow, as you can see, which is pretty interesting from an aesthetic perspective. Has a lightweight appearance to it because of that, but pretty easy to use. So you just pull it down for drive and then push it up for reverse. Some Volvos, you have to like go into neutral first and then drive, whereas this, you can just pull it down and it automatically goes into drive, which is nice, a little bit more user-friendly. And you can see here at the center console, storage space. And then we've got this little plastic tab, which I guess it's kind of like a little bit of a, maybe it's like a built-in garbage can in a sense because it like has that type of lid. I don't know, it's practical. You can see the padding and the stitching again here for the center console. I love this, this is cool. The dash is padded, no stitching on it, but it is like soft touch. And then glove box, nothing too crazy happening with that. And then just like Teslas, we of course have a glass roof. You gotta have a glass roof in an electric vehicle, but you have to have a glass roof that you can't open. It's just, it's always there. It's always like this. I don't know why EVs do that, but it's just like an EV thing. And then you guys notice the material used here at the top, mirror, all that fun stuff. Now here's our window sticker for the C40, and hopefully I made it through this video without accidentally saying XC40 when I meant to say C40. Hopefully. Anyways, feel free to freeze the frame. I love how it says pure electric, zero tailpipe emission. They're really trying to hit that home. Volvo is trying to be full electric very, very soon with all their vehicles. But anyways, there's all the standard equipment. Now, the thing that's interesting about this, notice it says we've got the price right here and then ultimate package, and then you guys can see the total MSRP. So here's the deal about the C40. It only comes in the ultimate package. There is no other package you can get with the C40. So they're basically all going to start at this $58,750 range. And then if you add metallic paint, it adds another $695, and then destination. So after everything, $60,540. If you don't do metallic paint, then minus $695, and then that's what your total price will be, like $59,000 something. But yeah, this is the only package you can get in the C40. So if you're going to buy a C40, you're either going to spend $59,000 or $60,000 basically. And then also you can see here with the EPA ratings and all that. I love how it says annual fuel cost $750. It's an electric vehicle, EPA, dude. Let's drive it. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here on the C40. You can see visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors, again, they do have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And, oh, I'm already in drive. Whoops, let's set off. So this is our first C40 off-road review. And this is where we could utilize the front camera, actually. Look at this. So now, we have a practical use for the front camera because I've got to get turned around, got to go over these little rocks. Hey, this is also testing that full-time all-wheel drive system, right? Am I gonna get stuck? Am I gonna have Volvo tow me out of here? This isn't terribly difficult or anything like this. You could probably climb up this with a Camry if I'm being completely honest, but you know what? It's at least cool to see, and it was a great little filming location, I think. It also lets me kind of feel the suspension. So I did pop, let me see if the steering's still in, because I popped the steering over into firm. I wonder if it, okay, it stays. This is something that I love about Volvos, actually. So being in the XC60 yesterday and now the C40 today, it saves like all of your settings. Like my Ford Raptor, for example, I know it's not competitive with this. I'm trying to make a point here. Every single time I get my Raptor, I have to go and set the steering feel, the suspension setting, and then the exhaust setting every single time I get into the truck. Whereas this, I set the steering feel to be firm, and I walked out of the car, turned off, and then got back in, and the steering feel is still firm. And then also with the navigation, I've gotten in and out of the car like 5 times, and it still has my route plugged in. I don't have to put it in again. That is really cool. I have to commend Volvo for that. I think that's pretty neat. We'll continue our off-roading. Oh, we got a pretty big obstacle here. Oh, look at the flex. Wow, wow. This thing is a off-road monstrosity, and this is also probably the worst possible place for me to have to turn out in a vehicle. To be completely honest, it's like a blind turn. Ah, wish me luck. Hopefully we don't end up in an accident. Just kidding. But at least we have power so we can get up and move. Rolls Royce, wow. This thing is fun. It's quick. So it really is, like, and you can see here, it grips really well. Again, with that full-time all-wheel drive, it's just like planted to the ground. It's like stuck. It's like boom. I don't really notice a huge difference. This is like the firm steering. I'm not really, I mean, it feels a little bit heftier, but it's still pretty light. Directness is good though with the C40. I can say that. I've got this road a little bit more memorized because I just took the XC60 up this road yesterday. And I know that a lot of you that are buying this are probably not going to be doing this type of driving with it, but it's good to at least know what it can handle. So if you're wondering, I have not touched the brakes once. This is all one pedal driving. So I just let off, and it slows down at a quick enough pace, I'd say, that it's super manageable, which is great. So like you pretty much could have like a little fun canyon drive here. And this shows that, like, in this situation where I'm, you know, accelerating and decelerating at a pretty rapid pace, around town when it's going to be a little bit more relaxed, most of the time, depending on how bad traffic is, you can basically never have to touch the brake pedal, which is great. And the handling on this is so good for a little SUV. Electric cars are actually pretty fun to drive in canyons, I can say that. Yeah, it's great. And the range is not going down by a massive amount. There's enough regeneration happening that, I mean, I'm losing range, but I mean, for how aggressive I feel like I'm driving and how I'm going uphill as well, I feel like I'm not losing as much range as I would expect to lose, considering the driving. Wow, this thing gets up quick. It's fun. It's really fun to drive. And then I do want to talk about around town driving. If you want to see around town driving, like the point of view version, go check out my second channel. I posted some impressions there on the second channel. But it's a really good around town driver. So seat comfort's solid. The bolstering here, really good too. Even if you're a bigger person, you'd still be able to fit in these seats pretty comfortably. And then in terms of, you know, I was in mostly traffic. It's great in traffic actually, which is a huge plus. Like, again, with the one pedal drive, it doesn't make traffic annoying. It really doesn't. It's kind of like a seamless setup, which is great. And then if you need to pass someone, like, again, it's an EV, so like it's got some oomph. It can get up and it can move, right? So it's got a lot going for it. And then, like I said, the UI, all of that, super straightforward, easy to use, which is great. So that's another big plus. We're gonna go extra slow through here because I saw so many people almost get in an accident here yesterday because they were driving like way too fast through the out of the parking lot. So rather be safe than sorry. But yeah, continuing along here, this is just fun to drive. There's no other way to put it. This is just a fun electric car to drive. Rock it out. It's so cool you can do that. And again, the all-wheel drive system gets so much grip. There's no drama whatsoever. It's just like point, shoot, which I don't know, I enjoy that in cars. I like that safe, like this gives me a safe feeling when I'm driving it. You know, some cars, people are like, oh, I want the car to be, you know, feel like I'm gonna die. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want a car where I can, you know, go at fast speeds. That's where I'm getting my thrill from, but not where I'm like, ah, something bad's gonna happen because the car's spinning all over the place and going all over the road and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, let's get into summing things up here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the little canyon drive and the views and everything. So first off, exterior appearance. If you like Volvo styling, you're gonna like this C40. It looks like a Volvo. They've done some things with like the lights, especially in the rear, to make them look a little bit more modern. But I wouldn't say that it's necessarily groundbreaking from a stylistic perspective. It's just Volvo. With the interior, again, the big talking point is the fact that they're never going to use leather with this interior, and they did a really good job with the fit and finish with the materials they did choose to use here in the interior. So I think that that's a plus. And so with everything kind of taken into account, I think this is a great vehicle. Price point, it's right where it needs to be, considering the power outputs, the range, and, you know, in terms of the interior quality, brand, all that kind of stuff. It makes sense. And I haven't posted this video on the second channel yet. It's talking about Tesla, how they've raised their prices for their cars. But most people that are purchasing EVs are purchasing higher up packages. That's why Tesla basically raised their prices, is because most people purchase the higher up packages. So Volvo releasing this with one package, right, to make things simple. Like if you want a C40, you get a loaded C40, that's it. It's smart because this is what people are gonna buy anyways. People are not really gonna go for the base model versions at this point with electric cars, because ultimately these electric vehicles are still kind of, you know, more of a luxury. And so, yeah, if you want a super fun electric vehicle that's very comfortable, feels safe, has great easy to use tech, the C40 checks all the boxes. And you know what, I dare say I prefer, like, you guys know I'm not a huge Tesla fan, I really am not, and this is another vehicle that I can confidently say is just, it's better than Tesla. I like this more than Tesla. The XC40, same thing. So yeah, there you go. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2022 Volvo C40. And with that being said, I'll see all of you in that next video.